has unveiled a new plan aimed at breaking down the monopoly power of big foreign tech. Officials say they want the dominant companies to open up their troves of data to smaller rivals in hopes it will create a level playing field. It comes after Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai did their best to get ahead of the game-changing announcement. Both men have been in Brussels trying to appeal to EU leaders. Jules Polonetsky is the CEO of the Future of Privacy Forum. He was the Chief Privacy Officer at AOL for a time as well. He joins us live now. Jules, thank you so much for being with us. So the goal of the EU here is really some kind of regulatory framework that governs the use of data. Just walk us through it.
Well, the EU recognizes that over the last decade or so, the big national champions on consumer data have been Google, Facebook, all the others. They see AI now as the opportunity to catch up, the next big thing that could really make a difference to economies and to the world, and they don't want to be caught behind the game. The strategy seems to be put rules in place, because if AI is not properly regulated, we could have discrimination, we could have AI running amok, all of the problems and the fears. And so the hope is that by having a world of trusted AI, the EU will set forward a path. But I think it's important to note that the president of the Commission, when she came into office just a little while ago, promised that she'd regulate AI within 100 days. That clearly proved to be a pretty big challenge. And so what we're seeing now is a white paper that takes a little bit more time, sets out some rules, and in a lot of ways talks about shared values. Everybody wants to make sure that AI does, good things for the world and doesn't end up being discriminatory. So I think there's a lot to like here.
Right, so when you think about areas like healthcare, like policing, like transportation, just what are the risks and what are the vulnerabilities when it comes to flaws in AI?
Well, one important point that the strategy makes is it says there's really high-risk AI, the kind that we really ought to go very slow if it's used for policing, if it's going to decide whether somebody gets out on probation, for transportation, areas where we can't take a chance that just because it seems to be accurate and working, that it isn't actually doing something very risky, making unfair decisions, where we really need to understand it and have humans assessing it. And so it says, for those areas, let's go slow, let's have clear rules. And then the AI areas where perhaps it's lower risk, right? Maybe I'm marketing. Does it make a difference that I send one offer versus another offer? Or, I'm deciding which entertainment option to offer you next. Maybe you'll like this movie because you saw that movie. And that can go a little bit more quickly. Where it could be a problem, though, is they do propose that in some high-risk areas, you might need to pre-check or pre-approve your technology with perhaps government agencies. Now, if we're looking to compete and we want the European market moving as quickly as the US, as other areas, as China, slowing down and pre-approving really could be a barrier for some of those startups. So they're really going to have to figure out how, when they get around to legislating, which they do promise that by the end of the year they will do, they're able to balance sort of being trusted and setting good rules without slowing down and over-regulating.